What's up, everybody? It's your boy JKG. Welcome back to the channel. This one is gonna be a little bit of a final thoughts on Alpha Wave 1 for Godforge. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the good, the bad, and the in-between, right? So before we get into all of that, I want to say thank you for the support on the recent videos. If you do like the videos that we're doing here on the channel, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit notification bell so you know when I go upload and go live and all that kind of fun stuff. We're going to be going hard in the paint again here pretty shortly. August 13, we are going to have Alpha Wave 2. And if you did not get the memo, if you were part of Wave 1 and everything, you're going to be part of Wave 2 as well. So you have the opportunity August 13th to get back into the game and have some more fun. So yeah, that all being said, y'all, it was a long week and a half for me personally. We went pretty hard in the paint right off rip. I took some time off from work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday when the game dropped, so I was able to stream for like 8+ hours. Broke it up into like a morning stream, broke for lunch, filmed a couple videos, came back at it in the evening, and we were doing pretty well. It was, as far as that goes, but like the launch was incredibly smooth compared to some larger games that I've seen. Even though it was only an alpha, not like a full launch. Like I've been part of other games that had incredibly bad full launches. So to see the team behind the scenes handling different stuff, like myself, I was, my email either got cut off at the bottom of the whitelist to be whitelisted, or I entered the wrong email address and got locked out like off rip. And I was back in the game within maybe 2 hours. And I know a bunch of people were having that same issue. So definitely something that the team was pretty fluid, especially right there day one. They were able to get everybody back in the game right away, get everybody going and in the game and having some fun. The bugs. So we'll start with the good things. The bugs. I didn't have a ton of bugs. I had bugs, obviously. Most of the time when I was time stamping, some of my streams, or I was just grinding and I was, I would go ahead and I would record a quick little clip of the bug. I would head over and I would check the known bug section and, they've already put a post out. Boom. Okay. They already know about this particular bug. They're already working on it on the back end for Alpha Wave 2, Wave 3, full launch, all that kind of stuff. So, they were really quick about that. I did get, I put in a few bug reports and promptly got responses on those, and they were resolved. Not necessarily resolved like in the alpha wave, but resolved as in, they noted it down. They were able to see, okay, yeah, we were able to reproduce this bug on our end. We're going to move forward with, working on this for Alpha Wave 2, Wave 3, and going forward to try to make the game better. So that was massive. I expected the game to be a lot buggier than it was. That was a pleasant surprise for me. I've seen some full launches of games that were less buggy than this. Sadly. That was crazy. Another good thing, the community came out in full force. Not just the OG raid community that a lot of us content creators are coming from and a lot of us players are coming from, which is natural being that, Simon, Dan, Paul, all are coming from that community as well, and everything. So many people from the Fateless team have come from the raid community. It's natural that we're going to have a big crossover of players, but seeing a lot of players that are from other genres, a lot of people, coming through the streams and everything. We've had some like League of Legends players come through. We've had some like some like Call of Duty guys come through. It's pretty dope, man, to see that the game has this genre in this game specifically has kind of gotten a little outside of our little raid bubble, right? So as primarily a raid guy previously in this genre, it's pretty cool to see that the community is casting a wider net and bringing a little bit more people in than just the former raid players that are really excited. But yeah, that's really dope. The amount of customization, I guess I'll say, that we have on the heroes, whether it's team synergies with other heroes. They don't even have to be like linked heroes. Like a big one that we know off rip is like Tristan and Isolde. They have a synergy with their kits built in, but like Lady Jacques and Dracula have become a pretty good synergy. There's a ton of synergies that you wouldn't even think of. Like I was running Heimdall, and he gets a bigger shield based off of his defense. So running him with even just an Isolde to buff his defense, boom, bigger shield. Like that, something as simple as that. That was really cool to see. The gear, there's gonna be a standalone gear video coming up soon. I might actually reach out to a couple creators on the back end that went hard in the paint on like what gear sets do what and what gear sets work well with each other. That was going to be my plan this weekend. I'm filming this Saturday after the alpha wave 1 ended because we were initially going to have access to the game through Sunday. So this would have been basically my last full day with the game, but they ended the alpha early because we were able to get enough data back to them and bug reports and everything to provide a lot of feedback. But so my plan was to go hard on like what gear did what gear worked well with each other, and I just didn't get that opportunity to do that because of day job stuff. But it feels like I remember the early days of Raid, and I'm just gonna use Raid as an example. When we started in Raid, we didn't have a ton of sets. We had the base gear. We had life, attack, crit rate, crit damage, life steal. We had like the freeze. We had sleep. We had stun. And I think that was it at the time. I could be wrong. That was years ago. And then slowly they drip feed us more and more, gear sets and stuff like that. It felt like we went 0 to 100. There's a ton of gear sets in the game that do pretty cool things. If you look at them, couple that are only 2-piece sets, but most of them go all the way up to a 6-piece variant, which was really cool. And you could kind of see, okay, whether this is bugged and not working right now in alpha, that's fine. But I can see where their mind's at, where they're going with this. Like, one of them was, ultimate abilities. So once you get to the boss, I'm going to swap in some of this gear and put it on like my Beowulf and just go dummy mode and hit for like 2 million against the boss, right? You can see some of it was defense based. Like with my Heimdall, I just stacked the basic defense gear as much as I could and got a ton of defense stats on the stats. But in general, I kind of made a conscious decision to go stats over sets in the first wave of the alpha, and I had a really good time doing that. So in wave 2, I'm probably going to do sets a little bit more heavy and lean into those a little bit heavier, just to kind of get a little bit more feedback for myself of what the sets do and how they work with each other. But I was really impressed with how much freedom we had. Another really awesome thing was the gearing, swapping gear from hero to hero, not costing any gold, was just chef's kiss. especially for coming from a content creator in Raid. That's not part of any kind of content creator program with them, so I didn't get any kind of like monthly silver and gems and any of that. So like for years that I was making the Raid content on my channels, it was if I don't have the silver, I can't make the videos. So having that freedom to move gear around at will was really nice. The leveling felt nice and smooth. Being able to, especially the last couple days of it, being able to make a 6-star and get them to 60 from nothing, all within just a few minutes was super dope. I loved that. Let's see. As far as Ascension, the Ascension, I think we need. We were able to build up a lot of the base stones, the red, green, and blues, and we were able to build up a nice little chunk of those to go there. Awakenings, I think the drop rates on a lot of heroes were pretty darn good. I suffered the first day and a half with 0 drops. Like epics and legendaries, the only ones that I had were like the guaranteed legendary and the guaranteed epic, and that was it for the first day and a half. Once the door got open, though, I was able to get a ton of legendaries, ton of epics, and I was able to really awaken some champions and really unlock some of their power. I think we're gonna cut it there as far as the good stuff. Going into the bad stuff, I would say some of the bugs were really tough to work with. The memory leak issue on PC, I don't know if it was affecting mobile users as much or more, but memory leaks were there was moments where it felt unplayable at times, but that's to be expected. So it's not necessarily a bad thing specifically, but that's just experience wise for the alpha. That would have to go in the bad section. Resources, outside of the 2-star drops for like the purple stones, and the larger stones in general, the drops for those were really tough. Getting more and more heroes 6-star fully ascended was pretty tough, to be completely honest. You had to really farm those stone stages, and hopefully you got some good drops along the way. I would love to see a dedicated floor, how we had dedicated floors for green, red, blue. I would love to see a dedicated floor for purple stones. That would have been really dope, because some of my best heroes that I didn't have fully ascended were eternal heroes. They were purple, and I just didn't have the stones to bring them up. The awakening drops, I'm perfectly okay with the amount of drops as far as drop rate of legendaries that we got. Once you started getting them, it seems like once you kind of get a feel of where to farm them, you're able to kind of farm them. I got a couple epics all the way fully ascended or fully awakened. Really unlocked some really cool features. Isolde, I was able to get fully awoken early on. That really woke her up and helped her kick ass. Weapons are a really awesome thing, but also the imprint's not working. You'd have to unequip the weapon and re-equip the weapon to get the passive. It seemed like fight to fight, I was losing those passives. So I wouldn't even in battle, if I unequipped the weapons and equipped them, in the hero information screen, I would get the secondary passive, but we wouldn't see that secondary passive in the battle screen. So I don't know if that was just bugged or they weren't working, or they weren't transferring, they weren't making it from the information screen into the battle screen. I don't know. They know about that. They're working on that for Alpha 2 and Wave 3. Hopefully by Alpha Wave 2 we can have access to all that, and all those passives will work, because that'll be there. In the community side, there was a lot of folks, I don't know why, a lot of folks that were not understanding that this was just like the very first public alpha. It was a closed public alpha, but it is a public alpha. This is the first time that players outside of Fateless employees and family members and friends, the incredibly tight circle, like 150, humans. This was the first time anybody outside of that little small tiny group had their hands on the game. So a lot of folks were coming through like, oh man, why is there these bugs are crazy. Why is that, why is there pink screen, pink box around this guy when he goes to attack? It's like, okay guys, it's alpha. It got to a point where I made a little graphic to put up on the screen that it's alpha gameplay, guys, because it was just super just over and over and over. And then obviously the haters, there's folks coming in calling it a raid clone or raid 2.0 or whatever. I don't see how if you're coming into somebody's stream and you say that, like, just stay around for like 5 minutes and you're gonna see that it's not a clone. It's got a lot of crossover. It's the same genre and there's a lot of crossover, but it's not a clone. So that kind of was, I have to put that in the bad section as far as like the community goes, because I did get a lot of that kind of feedback in streams and a lot of comments, and that's fine. You can have that opinion. You can say the game looks like trash. That's fine. But please if you're going to say something like that, please give some constructive feedback, right? The game looks like trash because this, and list why it looks like trash. That way I'm not affiliated with Fateless. I can take that information and forward that over to them. They read our comments in our videos. I can provide them that in a Discord email or whatever to try to make the game better for everybody, because obviously they don't want the game to look like trash. They're putting their time, their effort, their money into this. They don't want it to look like trash. So if for whatever reason you think it looks like trash, please provide actionable feedback. That way they can make it better for us. I think some of the gear, not the gearing, but the leveling could be a little bit cleaner. Being able to save your autofill suggestions for the entire session would be nice. That would be a super cool little quality of life feature, because like it seemed like every time I set those settings, if I went to a battle screen and came back and wanted to level somebody up 30 minutes later, 30 minutes later, they were all gone and I had to redo them. So that's a little thing. A lot of the bad stuff is little things for me. The screen in the battle on the left-hand side, where it shows the order of, who's up, who's next, and then the order of who's taking their turns, who's coming up. If we could click that or long click that, I don't know if that's in the works or that just wasn't able to be. It was one of those things that just wasn't able to be put in for the Alpha Wave 1. Please, I would love that. It was a little annoying to not know who I was fighting or what their skills were by doing that, what debuffs were on them. The affinity marker, the little ball. So we have our initiative ball that fills up when we builds our ultimate next to our hero icon down at the bottom. there's a little tiny circle with the color of the affinity. That is for our heroes and the opposition. If that was a little brighter or larger, that would be nice. I found myself, especially that first day, found myself not knowing who to attack. Is easy playing even on my full screen monitor here. I have a 32-inch monitor and I had it full screen, and I was like, who do I hit? Who do I hit? I was like, why am I? My guy has crit rate. I have decent crit rate. Obviously not 100% on day one, but had decent crit rate, and he's never critted. And then I finally was able to like really kind of lean in and make it out that I'm hitting weak targets. I'm doing weak hits, not strong hits or indifferent hits. So just either a little brighter on those affinity colors, or a little bigger, or possibly a little combination of both. That would be really dope. I would say for me personally, the entire first day I didn't recognize when somebody started glowing that was their ultimate. I just clicked off. I wasn't paying attention to that, and so I went the entire first day of playing without using a single ultimate, because it wasn't over on the skill side of the tree. It was their actual player, their actual hero icon. So that was something that was not quite intuitive. So maybe clean that up a little bit, or little first battle in, here's your play tip. That may have been something that was covered in the little mini tutorial before we plug in our email address and everything. However, my email address worked me up, and I wasn't able to get through a lot of that tutorial stuff. I just landed. Once I got into the game, I was landed on the sanctum. So that was kind of funky. That was pretty cool. I would say that's probably about the biggest complaints I had with the game. Indifferencies, just bugs in general. I was pretty indifferent to a lot of the bugs. Some of the skills I think could be retooled a little bit. Obviously this is just alpha, so we don't know, this may not be the end game at full launch. So some of these skills that might feel overpowered right now might feel not overpowered at full launch. But I do believe we might see a lot of rebalancing as far as, some of the multipliers and stuff like that. We may or may not see some of that happening here between wave 1 and wave 2, possibly even wave 2 and wave 3. I tried to say it in all the videos. This is just the very first alpha. Everything is subject to change. Just like, I'm a pro wrestling fan, guys. Pro wrestling has a thing, card subject to change. On every time you see an advertisement for a wrestling show, at the bottom, asterisk, card subject to change. So everything with this, especially being alpha, the first wave of an alpha, was card subject to change, basically. So that is something that was pretty indifferent to me going into it, and I wasn't too upset with anything about that. But that was the main thing. On the battle screen, on the drop down, I would love like an info screen, or it would be really nice to have like a spot to have an toggle the auto replay feature from the battle screen. That would be pretty nice, because if you miss checking the box before you go into the battle, you got to wait till the battle's over and then hit that. That would be nice. I think that's about it as far as like the stuff that I was indifferent on. Not a big long list, and I don't want to make this a 45-minute video. That's just not my style. I want to try to keep good vibes for you guys. Lastly, I will say this before we head out. Thank you again to the entire Fateless team. First off, Simon, Dan, Sham, Dirt, Brad, Susie, Chloe, everybody that I've interacted with, everybody that I haven't interacted with, that's part of the Fateless team. Thank you. y'all knocked this out of the park. I'm super proud of all the work that you guys have put into this. I know from my day job being in the tech world, I know there's a ton of work that you're going to be doing. You're going to be having a lot of sleepless nights, just like me. Yeah, you guys killed it, man. So give yourselves a pat on the back. You deserve it. To the community, you guys showed up and showed out during this last week and a half, not just for me, but for all the content creators and for the community in general. You guys fucking killed it, y'all. To you guys, if you guys like the videos we're trying to put out here, my viewers specifically, if you guys are liking this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If there's something specific you want to see, if there's another content creator you want to see, you think they have a good take, or you think they have an idea that might fit my style or something like that, by all means, drop any ideas like that in the comments below. I'm open to all that, good, bad, indifferent. I like to say that. I will say, if you are going to provide negative feedback for whatever reason, whether it's game, me, whatever, provide why. Don't just say it's trash. Don't just say it's trash. Give me, this is trash because, That being said, guys, I'm going to cut it off here. I don't want to keep you for the rest of the day. I will be doing some more Godforge videos. I'm going to be going back through some of the footage that I have recorded that I haven't edited up, and try to put out a couple more videos here in the in-between times. We're going to reach out to some of the other creators, maybe do some talking head videos, maybe do some reactions to some of their streams, maybe some of their videos and stuff like that. And so keep an eye out. We're not going to be dead in the in-between times, but yeah, wave 2, August 13, be ready. We got some time off for that one as well. So we got the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we're going to be doing similar. We're going to be doing morning streams, probably break for lunch, evening streams, and tons of videos in between. So be excited for that, guys. Godforge is coming. It's coming. Wave 2 is almost here. Wave 1 just ended and wave 2 is almost here. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, again, hit the like button, subscribe. It's free. You don't have to pay nothing. Love you guys. Peace.